Welcome to the Get It Done podcast, where you'll find me, Bradley Simmons, weight loss and fitness expert, chatting to other experts on why health is the key to success. If you haven't heard of our 5 pillars that get it done, they are mental, physical, emotional, social, and financial health. This podcast is going to help you build your 5 pillars, and therefore is going to build your success and, most importantly, your happiness. Let's get it done. Okay, Rachel, welcome to the Get It Done podcast. How you getting on? How's
Very
things?
Good. Thanks for having me.
How's your year been?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes.
Excited for 2025.
So tell my audience and your audience who you are, what you've achieved so far. I'll go straight into it. And before we start this brilliant conversation I'm excited about.
Alrighty. So hi everybody. If we've not met before, my name is Rachel Harris and I'm a disruptor in the accounting industry. So I'm disrupting what it means to be an accountant, what it feels like to have an accountant, and disrupting the concept that you can't scale a business to 7 figures without losing yourself and your finances along the way.
Because in the UK it's difficult.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
And I guess the whole stereotype of accountant, what a boring job that is.
Yeah, we call that the stale pale male.
You have shown me a different light straight away. Your energy is amazing. So I'm guessing you absolutely love what you do.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
Yes.
And so over the last 4 years have started my own accounting firm. I create long and short form, completely free, accessible, consumable content.
Yep, I've seen it on your
people
Instagram. Looks amazing. It's brilliant.
What running a great business can feel like.
Yes.
And through doing that, we've become the accounting firm of choice for celebrities, influencers, and business owners. So we're a 7-figure firm, 20 employees.
So I should be your next client.
Absolutely.
And one thing that everyone says is, we didn't learn about taxes, we didn't learn about money at school. I have no idea what I should be doing, where I should be investing my money, how I should be avoiding corporate tax, how do I start a limited company, should I be starting a limited company? So I'm going to pick your brains so we can really educate of the people listening now. I've been on my own journey. Obviously, I've been freelancer since the age of 20. Funny situation, I was earning cash as a personal trainer does. I went to the bank and I had about £40,000 in my bag, right? I went to the bank account and I said, "Hey, I need to put this in my bank account, please. I want to get a house." They put me to one side. Next minute, police came into the room. Said, "Sorry, sir, can you just step this way and tell us exactly how you got this £40,000? I had to show them my Instagram. I had to show them my personal trainer. That's when I decided, okay, I better get myself an accountant.
Breaking Bad situation.
Yes. And then another situation, I bought myself a first house, which was great. I put all my money into a deposit and then get a phone call from my accountant saying, yeah, you've got to pay 40% on that. I nearly went bankrupt. Another huge lesson. Of course, I'm 30 now. I'm very clued up, very into obviously my finances, invest my money wisely, but it does take time. So hopefully anyone listening out there now who hasn't got a clue, pay attention. Yeah. So talk to me. Where is the UK right now when it comes to finances, taxes? Obviously, Labour Party have just come in, national insurance gone up. Tell us what's going on.
Alrighty. So this was actually my first Labour budget as a self-employed person. I've only been self-employed for 4 years, and so this was a turbulent time. So as well as owning the accounting firm, I do a lot of TV work, speaking, and so it was like primed, ready to go for budget week, and it was turbulent. I very much, if I take my accountant hat on as a business owner, felt really targeted by Labour. I think previously, specifically this time, we saw Labour try to not impact anything for the people who vote and target business owners. And very often when the general public think of business owners, they think of really large corporations.
Yes.
The Tesco's, the Boots.
They think, yes.
They don't think about us.
No, they don't
having
think
to pay
the
corporation
small,
tax at 25%, having to navigate with clients things like national minimum wage, national living wage, national insurance increases, and so it's really hard. So the week after the budget, we actually did a price increase workshop with all of our clients to really almost show to the press and be able to talk to the press about the fact that like actually doing this still impacts the end user. It's just really painful for small business owners in between. But a really big part about what I do is I was a free school meal kid, a charity shop clothes kid. Okay. And my first experience of financial education was when I decided to become an accountant. Okay. And that's so wrong. It's so wrong.
Yeah, it's so wrong. Like, and how old were you when you decided to become an accountant?
Yeah, 17. 17. And that was my first taste, my first experience of like actual maths, not the maths that you learn at school.
And how young are you now?
31.
31. So from the age of 17 to 31, has the tax bracket changed? obviously the corporate tax used to be at 19%, right? Now it's
Yeah.
at 24%.
Yeah, absolutely. So 19 to 25 on corporation tax. And again, even sometimes the percentages change, but very often the thing that we don't see that lots of people don't talk about is the thresholds don't rise.
Yeah.
So we pay tax at higher percentages, but the threshold is staying the same.
Yes.
So we just saw the VAT threshold increase for the first time,
Yeah. So what's the VAT now?
90,000. And it's been 85 for a really long time.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. And so the thing that people focus on is the percentages. What a lot of people don't focus on is the true cost of those thresholds not changing and not increasing.
Yeah.
And so that's really, really interesting.
Because a lot of
as well.
people will be listening to this saying, well, this doesn't relate to me because I work, I'm an employee for a business. I just have to pay my taxes, don't really care, just do it. But you've got friends, you've got family members who have limited companies. And right now, Labour come in and your friends, your family members with limited companies are seeing the difference, and they will be seeing the difference big time.
Most importantly, your employer.
Your employer, exactly. And if your employer is seeing a difference, then wait to see some cuts.
Yeah, 100%.
So talk to us about that. So just so people understand, how much are people getting taxed right now if you're an employee?
Sure. So if you're an employee, we are paying income tax, we're paying PAYE, you are getting, you'll pay pension contributions, and then your employer will also contribute to pension contributions. In the UK, if you're self-employed, there's a couple of different ways that you can be self-employed. So if you are employed, you're paying income tax, PAYE, and national insurance. If you are self-employed, you pay quite similar taxes.
Yeah.
You are trading as yourself, you are the business, and the business is you.
Okay.
That's great for lots of different reasons. It means that you pay similar taxes to the taxes that you'd see on your payslip. It can feel less scary if you are newly self-employed, but it also means that the risk of the business sits on your shoulders. So if you're a PT and you have to have insurances, actually that insurance policy sits with you personally, not within your business.
Yeah.
And so you are the business and the business is you.
And being self-employed, I remember as a PT, you could put your petrol, you could do so much. You could buy PT clothes, like sports clothes. You could put everything on the business. Even that's more difficult now.
Yes. Yeah. And so, again, my job is about educating people on what you can and can't claim.
Yeah.
And I once went viral on TikTok.
Okay, tell us why.
For talking about the fact that we had a client who expensed a boob job.
A boob job? Or were they an OnlyFans girl? Or?
They were an OnlyFans girl.
I thought so.
And I was terrified that I would be known as the boob lady for the rest of my life for going viral. But it's really interesting, and it's so fascinating as an accountant. So as an accountant, you train based on this tax system that has been about for hundreds of years. But what wasn't there hundreds of years ago were the ways that people make money now.
Yeah.
So we're working with people as they come off shows like Love Island.
Okay.
They've just won Bake Off. They're in Netflix shows.
The way these people that need help because they have not an idea. They haven't got the right management around them.
Yeah. And they're also people who have hugely blurred lines between their business life and their personal life.
Okay.
So if you're a content creator and you're a vlogger or you're a mummy vlogger and you just vlog your normal day-to-day life, where is the line between what's an allowable expense that's wholly and exclusively for the purpose of your business that's way more blurry than you buying branded workwear that you'll only wear in the gym, or you keep it in a separate wardrobe and that's your gym uniform? It's so hard. And so a really big part of the work that I do is advocate to the British government to actually really concentrate on the way that people make money.
And with HMRC, it can be a bit of a battle, right?
Yeah.
Because my accountant, for example, like I tried to claim for this, that, and they were having none of it. And then I said, no, go back again, because back in the day, I used to be able to. So it depends on the individual at HMRC sometimes.
Yeah. And this is what was really interesting with the boob job client.
Yeah, go on.
So she's an OnlyFans creator. Again, obviously, for any other client, it would be, that's a big no.
Yes.
And so there are a couple of different things that we're looking at when we're trying to work out if something is allowable or disallowable. One is this wholly and exclusively for the purpose of your business? Obviously, that was a no. You use your boobs personally. But the second rule is if you can prove that your income will go up as a direct result of spending this money, the equivalent for you would be if you wanted to do a nutrition course. You could increase your services and therefore increase your income. You would use that knowledge personally, but you can prove that it'll increase your income. And so with specific circumstances, we can do things and try and gain assurance from HMRC in advance that we will do it, as well as having a great accountant. Means that they're keeping everything and all of the records on file. And one of the really interesting things that came from that piece going viral, because I was terrified, that I would just only ever work with OnlyFans for the rest of my life.
Well, that's a good business, because OnlyFans girls are doing very well.
Question my life choices.
I don't necessarily think what they're doing is right. However, I got to admire that they're earning good money, and of course you're going to benefit from that.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was really so the really big takeaway from that, from people who watched that clip, was that we listened to her.
Yeah.
She came back and said, "I've read the rules, and I actually think I've got a case to expense this. Can I expense it?" And again, for a lot of people, having an accountant that feels like they're for you.
Yeah, because you can have a lot of old school accountants that won't have a Scooby. Like, I remember one of my first accountants, or I was just advised by my granddad because he's been the family accountant for years, and he ain't got a Scooby.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how all the new system works. He doesn't even want to know. He's almost like a dinosaur. So
And the way that you make money now, right?
But
Content creation, like
yeah, no,
you have so many different income streams.
So my new accountant now, he's with it. He understands. He's a bit younger and he understands. So it's really important that I think loyalty is key when it comes to family and friends. But when it comes to your business, don't be loyal.
Yeah.
If it doesn't match your needs or obviously help you out, don't be loyal. That's something I definitely would do now in my 30s. I'm sure they can be loyal to you. You seem like a good one. Also, let's talk about the national insurance, because even I've got employees. I've got 9 employees. My national insurance has gone up crazy.
Yeah, same. Same.
And that's only 9 employees, by the way. Some people got 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 plus, which has left me to the point where, like, where are my profits? Literally, it's like business is doing extremely well. The more I'm taxed, the less profit I have, which means for me, the less people I can employ. Now, for me, as a capitalist, I believe in capitalism. Yeah, I do. I believe capitalism allows more people to have good jobs. And I feel like the UK is turning into a socialist society. Literally, Labour, complete socialist.
Yeah.
What is the national insurance going to do?
Alrighty. So,
talk to us.
In the 2024 budget, we saw national insurance percentages go up. We also did see the employer's allowance go up too. So the employer's allowance is an allowance that you can get and offset against your employer's national insurance contributions as well. So if you're a small business, if you've got full-time members of staff, normally between 2 and 3 full-time members of staff, you won't pay any national insurance.
Okay.
But for people like you and me, it felt quite painful.
Yeah.
And so, we have 20 full-time members of staff that are in-house on payroll. We don't outsource to any other countries.
Yeah.
We want to put all of the economics back into the UK. And our bill went up by £5,500.
A month.
Huge. A year.
A year.
Yeah, it's huge. And so the government are doing that to try and repay lots of things that happened during COVID. They're trying to do it to stabilise the government, but they're also doing it to try and save the NHS. And it's really hard.
Well, I was listening to LBC, and national insurance going up is going to cost Tesco next year. I think it's like £1 billion in the 4 years. So what's going to happen? They're going to increase the prices of your food, which is going to hit the most vulnerable.
And this is what I mean, right? When Labour are in Parliament and they are delivering the budget, the everyday person will sit on their sofa and be like, brilliant, my employer has to contribute more, national minimum wage is going up, that means the living wage will go up. All of these things are fantastic for me.
Yes.
2 months later, they can't afford to buy Christmas presents.
No, of course they can't.
Because everybody is having to react to all of these things. And again, that makes us, or the Tesco's, the bad guys, not Labour.
No, of course. And like, obviously, whether you vote Conservative, Labour, or even Reform these days, it's like, for me, I'm a realist. I'm like, what's going to best suit the country? You got to take your feelings away from it and look at policies. It's the same as the whole American situation, American politics. You got to take your feelings away and go, what's the best policies? What's going to be best for America? So people voting for Labour now are probably thinking, fucking hell. They're going to go back into that Bush, like the Homer Simpson meme. They're going to start going back to that Bush because they're like, Jesus, what have we done?
And I feel like a lot of people voted Labour just because they were fed up with Conservative.
Yeah, and I understand that, of course. And look, Conservatives, look, if you look at the Conservative, they haven't done well in the last 14 years. I think Rishi Sunak did a fair, decent job. And what he was saying in the campaign was true. And he warned us about what Labour were going to do, but no one listened simply because I guess the last 14 of Conservatives were a bit of a shambles. Yeah.
And I really do feel like a lot of people voted Labour out of frustration, and I wasn't one of them, but lots of people voted Labour out of frustration and are seeing this unfold. And so it would be really, really interesting to see what happens next.
No. Did you know that 1 in 5 have a gym membership but don't actually go? If you're listening and that sounds all too familiar, I have the solution. Get It Done, my wellness app, provides you with the choice between personalised gym guides, Goal Pacific guides, and hundreds of home workouts. You'll also get exclusive access to our community events and retreats. So whether it's time to cancel your gym membership and work out at home, or bring some structure and success to your gym schedule, the GID app can do just that for £18.99 a month. Not only that, we provide recipes and nutritional guidance so you can partner your workout regime with the right meal plans for optimal results. Life's too short to pay for a gym membership you're not using. It's time to get it done. Where can you see the UK economy being in the next, let's say, 4 to 5 years?
I really see. So after I qualified as an accountant, I did an MBA, which is a master's in business. And I love I love analysing all of this stuff. I think it's one of the best bits about being an accountant is I'm bloody nosy.
Yeah.
And I get to see what the most successful people that I work with, what they spend their money on.
Okay.
And I really see the UK dividing in the small business community
Okay.
between those like me who will hold on tooth and nail and always vow to create more jobs in the UK, create more opportunity in the UK, and I win work from making those decisions. So we have 770 clients. They choose to work with us because we don't outsource to other countries where there is low and no minimum wage. It's a race to the bottom. We sit in the high price, high value touch point. People love that. They love the culture. They love that we're creating jobs here. I see a split between businesses like this, like Grassroots, and businesses who will outsource everything / actually exit their business to a tax haven. Completely. And I really don't see much grey area in between that. I think it's
either one. It's either
your values this way or your values that way.
So me as a business, obviously for my lifestyle as well.
Like you're the other way.
So I've decided to move to Dubai. I've had this in my head for the last 7 years. I've always been back and forth. And in the fitness industry, it's booming out there. The opportunities are crazy. The investment compared to the investment in UK, no one really wants to seem to invest in the UK or someone like myself to open up their own gym because the overheads are just crazy and the profit margins are small. I've got friends who've got gyms in London, central London. You think, well, they must be smashing it. They've got one in Marylebone. They must be smashing it. No, they're not. To the point where they're literally pulling their hair out. So I've had to be smart and I think, okay, just slow down, focus on my online businesses, which are doing really well. But then again, of course, I get hit with corporate tax. I get hit with VAT, which is fine. I'm happy to do that. But it's got to a point where if I was to move to Dubai, gives me a lot more money in my pocket to invest more into my business, invest more employees and help more people out. So I see it as that way. And for me, selfishly, maybe people call me selfish, I'm moving to Dubai because I'm going to be in the sunshine. As an online fitness coach, all I need is Wi-Fi. So it's going to be a better lifestyle for me. In London, I feel like the energy is just gone. What Dubai is now is what London was 10 years ago. When I was first on the fitness scene in London, it was booming. There was events, there was gyms opening, there was people collaborating. I was on this morning. It was doing so much. I feel like it's dead. Honestly, I feel London, the energy is dead, and hopefully it comes back. But for me, selfishly, I'm going to Dubai for the next 5 years to change up my lifestyle. I've also met someone out there as well, so that's another reason which I'm excited for. But Dubai just seems like it's got it spot on for entrepreneurs, and I can see why loads of entrepreneurs are leaving. I've just seen a stat that 9,500 entrepreneurs are leaving the UK to Dubai this year, which is crazy because that's a lot of tax, a high tax that the Labour Party are going to miss out on. What are your thoughts on
and
that?
this is what I mean about there being a divide. I really feel like people are going to make a decision and vote with their feet, either to be me or you. It's quite interesting. This is a good conversation.
No, it's a great conversation. I think there's no right and wrong. I think what's right for you.
Yeah, 100%. And so for anyone that doesn't know, the reason that lots of business owners move to Dubai is because Dubai is, in lots of different ways, a tax haven. It's really important to get great financial advice before you move. You have to have all of your visas in place. You have to have lots of legal documents before you can incorporate a limited company. And you have to officially prove that you are no longer a resident in the UK, which is the most important bit. That's the bit that you have to do. You only get your 90 days.
Because you can't be resident in both, otherwise HMRC is still going to slap you around the face.
Absolutely. So that's a really important piece. So the best piece of advice, and we don't operate in Dubai, is to get a great accountant before you move.
I've got everything set up. I had the best advice, so I'm in a good position. And with Dubai, there's 9% corporate tax in Dubai, right? But this is only really focused on the high businesses still, because there had to be able to trade it with the big like banks in the whole world. So they had to bring in corporate tax. But you could pay yourself a salary, and on that salary you don't pay yourself any tax. So there's smart ways around Dubai.
Absolutely. And again, as with all things in any jurisdiction, an accountant's job is to help you to extract the most whilst legally paying.
No, of course. A lot of people will be on my case and, you need to pay tax in the UK, you need to contribute. And I get that. But I won't be out there buying 5 G-Wagons and 5 penthouses. No, I'll be employing more people, more coaches, more personal trainers and helping them out.
So do you employ people in the UK?
Yes, all of my employees in the UK. So they'll just have to go freelance. And then it's down to them to do their taxes and stuff. And if they want to move to Dubai, they're more than welcome. But anyway, let's go back to the raising taxes in the UK, right? And I get it done. We talk about the 5 pillars of health. We talk about physical health, mental health, emotional health, social health, and financial health. And financial health isn't a pillar that people wanted to discuss Men don't like to discuss it unless they're doing well.
Unless it's crypto. They
Yeah,
love talking
unless
about
it's
crypto.
exactly.
Yeah.
And women don't really tend to speak about financial at all. But I think it's a really important topic because without financial health, I think everything else really struggles, especially in men. The highest reason in suicidal rates in men is simply because of financial pressure. Simple as that. So how do you think financial health is going to struggle in the UK?
I do believe people are getting better at talking about it.
Yeah.
100%. And I think, I grew up in the north, which I actually think is worse for talking about money than down south. Yeah. Much like
Well, the northerners don't like the southerners, do they?
More stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
And so, I really believe we're seeing really positive change in people talking about it and reaching out for help.
Yeah.
There's lots of charities that are available as well, like debt advice helplines, people who are completely impartial, not sponsored by certain products that can help you to consolidate things. But even as an accountant, people really, really struggle. Mm-hmm. And it's hard because everybody becomes self-employed in one way or another to make money.
Yes.
But everyone's terrified to either earn money or talk about earning money.
Yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes as an accountant, you know how if anyone in a pub mentions they're a doctor, someone will be like, can you look at this thing on my arm? I feel like sometimes as an accountant, I'm that. So people actually do the opposite to me in that they overshare with their finances and they'll work.
Because they want to know the answers. Like, help me. How do I become rich, or how do I stop becoming poor? Or how do I pay off my debts?
And so I feel like financial well-being is improving in the UK in that people are talking about it.
And how would someone improve their financial well-being? Because obviously this is a big topic.
Yeah,
obviously organisation, not overspending, living under your means, being able to, do you know what I mean, be smart of your money.
Okay, so I feel for me, financial well-being starts with a quality of life audit. Lots of people, when they're setting financial goals, if you're employed, you'll be like, I want to increase my salary by 20% this year, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk to my boss about getting a pay rise. And actually, that is measuring your life rather than with 5 ways in 1 way. And so the best thing to do is to analyse your life in all 5 areas and score yourself out of 10.
Okay.
So if you scored low on well-being, but good on finances, actually, rather than earning 20% more, what if you earn the same amount, but earn 20, what if you earn the same amount of money, but spent 20% more of your time on your well-being? Or spent more money on your well-being?
So you invested in a nutritionist, an online 100%. Coach, invested in an app or personal trainer.
Or you went to your boss and said, actually, rather than getting a pay rise, what benefits can you offer me? Do you have private medical? Do you have private dental?
Okay.
We offer our team private healthcare, gym allowances, flexi time, work from anywhere. There's so many things that your employer can give you that aren't cash that can really improve the quality of your life overall.
Especially if that bonus is then taxed 50%.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is a really great way of when you're looking at your life as a whole and the quality of your life, actually financial well-being comes from leaning into the numbers but making decisions that might not even be financial, but looking at it really holistically.
Because it's true, how many people will get a bonus or get a £5,000 pay rise and then they use that £5,000 to go on Thursdays and Fridays nights, not do you understand? So if you're smart or you speak to your boss and say, is there anything you can help me with health-wise? Far more beneficial.
And the quality of your life will go up so much more than whatever that would be in a direct pay rise.
Yeah.
And so also it's worth saying these things can be easier to negotiate as well than a direct pay rise because cash, again, if you're a business owner.
From a male's perspective, I can't see males doing that. I think males just want to see their pay slip more. It's just a male thing. They're like, £5,000 more in my pay. That's giving me that testosterone boost that I needed. With females, I can see them doing that more than male for sure. Would you agree?
Why do you think men wouldn't do it?
I think men just
I think that's part of the problem, right?
Yeah, that's part of the problem. Men just want to earn money, money, money. They want to graft. I strongly believe if you say to a man, you can earn £1,000 an hour. How many hours a day would you work? They'll say 20. Yeah. Where if you said to a woman, and I might be stereotyping, not all women, but I think majority of women would say, majority of women say, do 6. Oh, I'm happy with £6,000. That's the difference with male and female. Men just want to earn money, want to see that pay slip. So when it comes to talking to your boss and maybe can I do no, I don't think they would do that, but they need to.
Yeah.
So it's great that we're having this conversation for them to go, do you know what? I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Do you want us to carry on talking?
What's the next question?
It's good to have these conversations.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so I do a quality of life audit every year. So I score my life in 8 different areas: physical, wellness, spirituality, environment, and rather than set financial goals just based on can I increase it by 20%, I will set tangible goals based on how I score in those areas. So, for example, if well-being was low, I would look at where I could spend money financially to improve it.
Yeah, which is a brilliant point.
Yeah, and I feel like really setting those goals with well-being in mind makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about money.
Yeah.
And again, even with the male-female approach, like actually if a man had something more tangible, like an area of their life to concentrate on,
Yeah.
it would make those conversations so much more impactful,
100%.
even with their boss, their employer, their accountant.
Yeah.
And so measuring your life in all of those different areas is really important to then set financial goals. And one of the best bits of my job as an accountant is to go through that process with people.
That's brilliant. That
We
you
do the scoring, we set the financial goals, and then I get to work the tax back. So if they said I want to earn 200 grand this year,
Yeah.
profit after tax, I do some reverse tax planning. So add back the corporation tax, add back the VAT, add back their overheads, and I tell them in order to take home 200,000, you need to be turning over 400, which turns into this each month.
Yeah.
So if you hit that turnover every single month, if you're billing, we're chilling, and
Yes.
you'll be there at the end of the year. And that's where like magic happens as an accountant, where you go from, rather than just looking at the bottom line and being like, oh my God, why am I paying this much tax?
Yeah, of course.
Actually, if you're planning for it, you're expecting it, and you're hitting that turnover figure every single month.
Mm-hmm.
We do it. So that's how we run our business. Our entire team are KPI'd on output, billable time every single month. That helps them understand how they're performing, and when they can come and say to me, "Oi, I want a pay rise," and it helps me to understand that if they're all hitting their targets, if they're billing, we're chilling, and I know that my quality of life is improving every single year.
Good. Really good. I would say about 90% of my clientele know exactly what they need to do with their physical health and their nutrition, but what they lack is accountability. And that's where I step in as an online coach. I give you your tailored program, your meal plan, and I give you that guidance and support throughout the whole journey to make sure that you get the results that you want and you progress to a stronger, healthier, resilient individual. So if you want to step things up and really improve the way you feel, the way you look, then my online coaching is for you. So if you want to receive 25% off my online coaching, simply click the link in the description of this podcast, complete the inquiry form, and type transformation to make sure that you receive your 25% discount. I'll be in touch. We'll have a video call so I can understand a little bit more about yourself. I'll explain how my online coaching works, and then we'll get to work and we'll get it done. Life is too short not to feel at your very best. Let's talk about, obviously, corporate tax. Obviously, it's 24%. But
It's
can
25%.
25% now. Wow. So now, look, you can put money in your pension, right? You can put 60 grand a year into your pension. You can also put 10 grand into your ISA. If you have 2 kids, you can put 10 grand in their ISAs. So there's loads of ways you can avoid paying corporate tax. So many accountants, I had to learn this myself and said to my accountant, I want to be doing this. And like, yeah, no problem. Why the hell did they not tell me I should be doing that?
Yeah.
And so many accountants don't advise their clients, this is what you should be doing. Maybe because they've got too many people in the books, they just want to do the, and then here you go, here you go, here you go. So people really, I've taught so many of my friends. I've got some of my mates who earn a fortune and they didn't know these. They've got 3 kids. I said, why not put 10 grand a year into each of your kids' ISAs? By the time they're 18, they've got a good amount of money in there. So can you just educate everyone, if they're earning good money, they've got a limited company, they're trying to avoid paying as much corporate tax as they can, what they should be doing?
Absolutely. So the 2-minute lesson that we weren't taught at school 10 years ago is, as employed people, on your payslip, you pay tax on all of your income.
Yeah.
So you see your income, you deduct tax, and that's it. When you move over to self-employed life, that's where things get fun.
Yeah.
Because we don't pay corporation tax on our income.
Yeah.
We actually pay corporation tax on the difference between our income and our expenses.
Okay.
So if you ever hear your mates down the pub saying, oh, put that through the business, put your wife on payroll. Everyone's got a mate called Alan down the pub who gives great tax advice, and that's what Alan always says is do those things. And a lot of people would nod along, but not really understand why that's important.
They go, yeah, that sounds good, and they actually don't go ahead and do it.
And so the reason that's really important is because as self-employed people, we don't just pay corporation tax on income, we pay corporation tax on profit, which is the difference between our income and our expenses. Generally, your income is what it is. We can't do too much about it unless you're carrying 40 grand of cash in a bag.
This is back in the day,
We can't do too much about your income, but your expenses, we have control over.
Yeah.
And so there'll be the day-to-day expenses that you can see and like feel coming in and out of your bank account, but there will be expenses that you might not understand that don't feel as tangible that you can put through the business. And that's where having a great accountant will change your life.
100%.
So lots of accountants work historically. They'll see you after your year end is finished and they'll just be like, this is your tax bill.
Yeah.
That's it. We can't do anything about it. If only you'd spoke to me earlier in the year, we could have done something about it.
Yeah.
And so we have built something called a financial MOT. So at month 9 in your financial year, you've still got a 3-month sprint towards the end of the year. We do a financial MOT. So we look at what you're spending your money on, what intangible things are happening around your business that you can claim for. So as a PT, mileage, you can probably claim mileage as long as it's not a permanent place of work.
But then you've got to track that mileage and how many people.
But you can get great apps on your phone.
Yeah,
like you can literally download
true,
an app that tracks every single thing that you do.
Again, you've got to be organised.
Yeah. You know when your iPhone says that you're driving?
Yeah.
Every single time it does that, you can toggle it on to track the journey.
Okay,
and you
that's
can
good.
swipe business, swipe personal, and it'll
Okay,
automatically
wow,
calculate
good.
for you. So 45p a mile adds up really, really quickly.
Yeah.
We can deduct that. Your personal phone, you probably use personal phone. Especially when you become self-employed, your phone's probably a business contract now. But when you first become self-employed, lots of people don't realise they can claim that. We can do things like a use of home, so reimburse you tax-free for using your home as an office.
Yeah.
Then we get to the fun stuff, like pensions. So there is a £60,000 limit every single year that we can extract completely tax-free corporation tax from your limited company into a pension. So you get to put that into a pension pot for later, and we can reduce your taxable profits by £60,000 and offset 25% corporation tax off that too. And so it's our job to make sure that we are maximising all of the allowable expenses that you can claim, whilst also utilising any allowances as well. So when you get to the point where you've got a champagne problem, you're making more money than you can physically take out of the business, that's when we'll look at maxing out things like pensions. Then once we've extracted that from the company and you've paid your personal tax, you can then max out your tax-free ISAs. You can do that for yourself, for your children. You can invest in things like premium bonds, which is a government-backed scheme. It's like the lottery. You can win £1 million every month. It's all tax-free.
And interest on these is great as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yes, you have to pay 25% at the end, don't you? This is the problem. The inheritance tax, and obviously with your pension, at the end you still have to pay 25% tax. However, that money's increased massively because of interest.
Yeah, and there's lots of really great things, and this is where having a great accountant and having a great financial advisor can work really, really well together.
Yeah.
So you can pass down pensions to children.
Yeah.
So if you never intend on drawing down on them, you can do that.
That's good
I have
to
a
know.
portfolio of rental properties which I intend to put in a trust for any children that I have. And so having a great accountant and a great financial advisor working together for you is amazing.
And I think everyone should have it, even if you are self-employed, you just started. Get yourself a financial advisor. It's the best thing I've ever done. Even if you're employed and you've got a little side hustle, which I think everyone should have a little side hustle. Everyone should have a little side hustle. Get yourself a financial advisor, a mentor, and definitely a good accountant, regardless of how much you're earning, because they'll advise you. Well, the best ones will advise you in that right direction to earn more money, to be more financially secure. And yes, the famous saying, money doesn't bring you happiness. But I believe money brings you comfort, and if you're with the right people in your life, it does bring happiness.
I think it can bring you well-being in every area that you talk about here, right? I think you can really invest it and like grow your well-being through money. And I do feel as British people, there is a misconception that money is a really bad thing. And I think what I've come to learn is that money is an amplifier of who you are. And if you're a good person, money is great, and you'll do great things with it.
There's something about the UK where they just hate people who are doing well. I just really don't get it. Like, I get a lot of stick when I showcase my lifestyle on, like, I get called white privileged man, for example, a lot. I was like, hang a minute, if you saw my upbringing, it wasn't privileged at all. I worked my absolute socks off.
And for most people, that desire comes from not having it.
Exactly,
well, right?
Of course. But I'm not going to showcase and remind you every single day this is where I come from. I'm just, now this is me living my lifestyle. And don't get me wrong, at one point I did struggle with it, all the trolling. I was like, what? And I had to feel like I had to prove I wasn't from a privileged background. But now I just laugh it off. And I'm like, do you know what? The people who watch my content and feel inspired, that's what I care about. People who are annoyed, frustrated, they're obviously in a bad situation. Yeah. And they get it. They've got a bit of whatever that's going on in their life. I hope it changes. But I hope my content does inspire them for sure.
You'll never ever get that criticism from people who are doing better than you.
No, of course. That's a famous saying, right? You'll never be criticised by someone who's doing better than you.
100%.
And for me, your environment has to be around people who are either doing as well as you, or are just as ambitious as you, want to get to places where you want to be, or who are doing better than you. So you can pick their brains. That's so key. If the famous saying is, again, I keep saying famous sayings, but it's true. If you're the smartest in a room, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, definitely.
Or if you're the wealthiest in the room, you're in the wrong place. And for me, like, I've always said I'm money driven. I always have been. So I was a footballer. Things didn't work out footballing wise. And I was like, okay, what am I going to become? Like, I love my sport. So there's only 4 things really. It's either a PE teacher, it's a football agent, a football coach, or a personal trainer. And I simply just Googled who earns the most money. And at the time, it's like a personal trainer in Central London can earn up to 75 to 150 grand a year. And as a 20-year-old, I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
I had friends at the time, 20 years of age, playing the Premier League on 100 grand a week. And I was playing with them. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be a footballer, but I can be the most successful personal trainer there can be. And I just grafted ever since. And I'm money driven. I'll be the first one to say, and I don't care. But what I do make sure is that I look after people around me. And that's key, you know. And I'm not flash with my money. Don't get me wrong, when I was younger, I wanted all the expensive things. But as you get older, you realise it's all about experiences. Yeah. Having the best holidays, the weekends away, being able to pay for people to enjoy it with you, that's key. And that's why I work hard. And that's why people should work hard. We've got a problem in the UK where so many people are on the dole, right? And this is why I think the country's getting very, very frustrated, because taxes, I guess, are going up. But they're like, where are the taxes going? Our streets being improved, our schools being improved, our facilities being improved. What's going on? You can see why people are getting really frustrated. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, definitely. Especially, I'm surrounded by self-employed people, right, who like make really good money and pay lots of taxes.
Yeah.
And I'd say, especially within our client base, we're very aligned on values, and so lots of people don't dislike paying tax, but like paying the right amount of tax.
Yeah, of course.
Not paying too much. And I'm exactly the same as you. If ever I share content about being tax efficient, I get trolled a lot from people who say that money should be spent on the NHS, on schools,
no,
on, you know, you think like, dude, if I added up how much tax I paid last
year.
I
know, this is crazy. Like, honestly, like me saying I'm leaving to Dubai, the amount of messages I've received saying, you should be paying tax to the UK. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't see where my tax is going. Like, it's actually, I'm not seeing any improvements. We're only getting like penalised in London. There's ULEZ now. You can't drive around the back roads. Every time I drove around the back roads to save myself to 20 minutes on my journey, I'm getting a ticket. Yeah. I'm like, this country is literally just taking, and it's so frustrating.
I feel like there is a political problem around communicating taxes and like a lot of people are so disengaged with politics that we sort of, everyone gets a bit leery around the election and around the budget, and then past that, like it feels very hard as a system to engage with. And as an accountant, it's my full-time job, and it's still really hard to understand like where that money goes. And
of course, especially when I'm like, I remember in pre-season I played for a team here. We went to a school to play, like they had a good facility, but then went into their change rooms and 4 of the showers weren't working. I was like, kids go to these schools. Kids are going to these schools. If we can't afford for nice showers for kids, what are we doing in this country? And it's so frustrating. But of course, obviously, there's wars going on that with funding. I understand. America is in the same boat, and you can see with the recent election, everyone's sick and tired of all their taxes going towards wars overseas. But we don't actually really know what's going. This is the problem. They don't actually tell us. And I guess as an accountant, you must have loads of your clients saying, "Look, where are these taxes going?" Yeah, you must, and you're like, well, "I don't actually know."
Yeah, and it's really important to, like, how much work goes in behind the scenes as an accountant to be able to give people answers. And I feel like so often our job is, we as accountants are standing between HMRC and our clients, and we sort of have to try and keep everybody happy. Yeah. Whilst there's no up-to-date rules from HMRC in terms of how to deal with the type of clients that we're dealing with, as well as like the deep research that we have to do in order to be
on it,
as up to date on the budget to do live TV, but also be able to like tell clients where their money's going. And it's so hard.
Accountability is most people's downfall when it comes to reaching health and fitness goals. You've got the gym membership, you've got the best intentions, you know what you want to achieve, but you just can't seem to stay consistent, so you give up or settle for little or no results. My one-to-one coaching is designed to create a specific plan for you to follow with your goals in mind. But with the added bonus of regular check-ins and communication, you will have the accountability you're missing, and therefore no choice but to level up and get it done. So if you're listening to this episode and it's time to level up, hold yourself accountable and get the results you want, I'll give you 20% off my one-to-one coaching. All you have to do is include the word transform in your inquiry form, link in the episode description. Because you've been on This Morning, right? You've been invited to go on TV shows. Like, you have to be up to date. For you to go on there, you're going to get a lot of backlash if you get anything wrong, right? Yeah. So you have to be with it.
I feel like I do more CPD than any accountant.
Really?
Like, to make content the day the news breaks, to do live TV the day that the budget is announced. It's,
So from the top of your head, what do you reckon is the 3 things that people need to know about taxes right now?
Alrighty. I'd say the first thing, if you are self-employed, maximize every single benefit. So I would be setting up every single insurance policy that you can do, critical illness, income protection. Make sure all of the insurance policies are set up through your limited company and they're protecting you personally.
Yeah.
Private medical, private dental. I actually just got my Invisalign done through my limited company, through
That's
the
good.
dental scheme. We pay for that for all of our team members as well.
That's good. It's good teeth is important, right?
Yeah. Private medical, private dental, and a gym allowance. We pay for a gym allowance for all of our team as well.
And that can come off the tax bill.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. So the team have to do benefit in kind, so they pay tax on the difference, but we fully fund all of it. So I'd say the first thing is make sure that you are maximising every single allowable expense. If you are doing personal development, if you're buying books that relate to your business, if you having mentorship that relates to your business, speak to your accountant about what you need to do to make sure that you can put it through the company. So that's the first thing, is make sure you are maximising every single benefit, because the goal is to pay the right amount of tax, not the most amount of tax. And so speak to your accountant about the maximum allowances. The second is financial well-being. Build that quality of life audit into your business. I feel like when you are growing a business, if your business is rapidly scaling, you have to rapidly scale yourself. Yeah. And it's so easy to let your quality of life fall behind.
No, well, there's another famous saying, you can either work for someone and work 9 to 5, or you work for yourself and you work 24/7.
Yeah.
And it's literally that.
Yeah. And so building those processes that continuously remind you to think like, I don't know about you, I constantly feel like I'm not replying to people fast enough, I'm not seeing my friends enough.
No,
like it's so hard. And so building that routine into your business.
But that's only because you've got a passion for your business. If you didn't have a passion for your business, you'd be running to see your friends all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why people in London, they go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because they don't enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah.
But when you work for yourself, you enjoy, you got a passion, right?
Yeah.
And it's so like I've got many online clients, and a lot of them do well. Obviously, for them to afford my online coaching, they have to do well. The businesses do well. But because they're so focused, they're traveling here, there, everywhere. What do they neglect? Their overall health. And when they neglect their overall health, what's then neglected? The actual business.
Yeah.
Or them actually getting that promotion because they're fucking exhausted. They can't have that high performance. So again, like you said, it's so important to come back to basics, good nutrition, get a routine, good sleep, and physical exercise. Yeah. That will really boost your finances in the long run. Not right now, but once you're transformed, trust me, your finances will grow.
Yeah, 100%. My third tip is to never underestimate the value of the business that you're building.
Okay.
Very often we would get to the end of a tax year and you'd look at what's on your self-assessment, you'd look at how much you've made in cash. And actually the thing that lots of self-employed people or business owners forget is that you can't pass a job down to your children, or you can't sell a job. You can sell a business, and you can pass a business on to your children.
Okay.
And so having a constant understanding of how businesses in your area are valued, for most people, especially service-based businesses, it's a multiple of either EBITDA or turnover. And so understanding what that number is at any time can really help the bad days get a little bit better.
Okay.
And so as well as the amount of money that I extract from the business every month, I also have an understanding of how much my business has grown by from a wealth perspective. And I understand if I sold my business tomorrow, it would be £1.7 million. Yeah. That helps the bad days.
Of course, 100%.
Yeah.
Have you got kids, or
no.
soon to have kids, or one day hopefully?
Would love one day.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good to know, because it's good. Love that you say that, because people will often ask me, why do I work hard?
Yeah.
I'm not for my future family, and they're like, but you haven't got kids yet, or a partner, or wife. And I said, yeah, but I will one day. And this is why I'm working hard. It's not for myself. It's for my future family. And I'm sure you're the same, right?
Yeah. And it's so easy for people to get angry or focus on the tax system, and like actually building that wealth is the thing that will change your children's lives, and that is quite a few budgets away, I imagine. And again, having a great accountant, having a great financial advisor can really help you to build a portfolio that is working for you long term.
Yeah, of course. And what would your advice be to anyone out there who is working a 9-to-5 job? Because that is the majority of this country, of course. That too scared to take risks, too scared to start their own side hustle or to start their own business. What would your advice be to them? Because they're just simply scared that there's no profits in it.
I'd say people very, very quickly who are scared of self-employment very quickly shift from being terrified that they're going to be in control of their own income to being over the bloody moon that they are in control of their own income when they realise that there's money everywhere, literally money everywhere. And a book, if you are in that situation and you feel scared, I would really recommend reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, yes. A lot.
Have you read it?
Said, no, I actually haven't
so
read
good.
this.
Yeah,
I'm too busy to read books. I want to, so.
Yeah, it's about a guy who was raised by a scared parent who always said, do not be self-employed, always get a job.
Yeah.
And then a friend's dad was this serial entrepreneur
Yeah.
that just made money like that.
Yeah.
And so he felt like he had two advisory parents in his lives, and he just started listening to the rich dad.
Well, like if you think about society, right? We go to school, we go to college, we go to university, straight into a job. So society has created us to be a 9-to-5 worker.
Yeah.
Institution. They don't want entrepreneurs necessarily, do they? They don't. And it's always, I find it's funny, like it's always that kid, the naughty kid with me especially. I struggle to concentrate in classes I did enjoy. Classes I did enjoy, I was up there with the top of the class. Classes I didn't enjoy, was one of the worst.
Yeah.
And simply now, I love my fitness. I love it. I'm a master at what I do. Not a master, I'm an expert at what I do. And it's funny, isn't it, how like the system, that's how the system works.
There's a really, really strong correlation between people who aren't categorised as overachievers at school.
Yeah. Well,
Pursuing
majority.
entrepreneurship.
The amount of multi-millionaires or billionaires who have, what's the word, have either ADHD or dyslexia.
Yeah,
It's
neurodivergence
incredible.
is really, really
It's
big.
incredible.
Yeah.
I haven't got tested, but my sister thinks I've got ADHD and dyslexia.
Yeah, we have a huge chunk of our client base is neurodiverse. And I can never work out if people who are neurodiverse become self-employed because a traditional 9-to-5 just doesn't work for them, or if actually they are just so much more talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then if you say, if everyone was an entrepreneur, had an entrepreneur mindset, then the world would be a crazy place, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We need every skill in the bag.
But I think it comes down to personalities.
Yeah.
Some people are made for entrepreneurship, having their own business, and some people are just simply not made for it. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. You just got to do your very best and see what works for you. Okay, finances, obviously, Christmas time. Obviously, people listen to this, Christmas is probably already gone. A lot of people are going to spend a lot of money on Christmas presents, Christmas dues, alcohol, you name it. Come to the new year, they're going to feel tight. They're tight in their money. What would your best advice be to them, those type of people?
Pre-Christmas, boundary setting. So I do a weekly show on BBC Radio, and this is something that we talk about every single week. So boundary setting is the most important thing you can do ahead of Christmas. If one of my friends said to me, can I just come around for a cuppa rather than buying you a present this year? I'd be like, oh my God, yes, please.
Yeah.
I would love that so much more.
Exactly.
And so ask people if you can spend time, not money.
Yeah.
And if they say no, they're probably not your mates. So it's
That's
quite a good test.
true, isn't it?
So boundaries are the most important thing. Again, if one of my friends was in a situation and they felt brave enough to say that to me, I would just be so happy and relieved.
No.
Yeah. So spend time, not money.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, let's go for a nice walk or...
Literally.
Literally
Little dog walk. Yeah.
little dog walk or... All right, let's go to the local baker and just have a nice coffee and a cake and have, like I said, experience.
Yeah.
Stop being materialistic. Think experiences.
Yeah. And...
Because there can be so many couples that are going to be like, oh, I better get something this year. Jesus, because last year I bought her a Prada bag. This year, what am I going to do this year? I've hit the standard so high. Like, again, just think about experiences and talk. Be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you. The more money I make and the more friends I have that are in the same position as me, the more I always just choose time.
Yeah.
Like I have friends that I'll be like, we are not doing any more Christmas presents or birthday presents. Like, not. We all earn enough money to buy things that we want.
It's quite funny. I got different circles. So I got some circles some of my closest mates who aren't earning as much as me. And we'll go to the pub and have a few Guinnesses, and that's lovely, and it's like wholesome, and I love it. And I got some mates where we'll get a business flight to Bali and spend 2 weeks there. Do you understand? So it's just knowing and I would never put my mates who aren't earning the money that me and my other friends are earning and put them under the pressure. Yeah. And again, also you got to be careful. Like me saying, "I'll pay for you," That they don't like that either. So you got to know who what circles are. So you got to be very careful. And that's something as I've got more mature, I've become better at. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So boundary setting.
Boundary setting
important.
for sure.
Obviously, I'm an accountant, so I'm going to say budgeting.
Budgeting.
Even something as simple as making a list on your phone of the people that you want to buy for, what you want to buy for them. Yeah. And then sitting down, whether it's on Black Friday or you get one of those cool Chrome extensions that tells you this is the best website with the best deal. That's not a dodgy website.
Yeah, of course.
Buy this product. And so just be really, really strict with yourself.
Another thing is Secret Santa. Instead of buying everyone a gift at Christmas, just do Secret Santa and you got that. Let's say you have £100 budget. Yeah. That's all you're going to spend this year. You can open up your presents as a family or a friendship group and you have a good giggle.
People love it.
That's it.
It's way better. Yeah.
So let's say you had 8 people to pay for. That's £800 that you might not be able to afford. That's going to set you back. Just spend £100. Everyone's in that same room. Secret Santa. It's a bit of a laugh. Again, it's all about spending time and quality time with people. That's where your dopamine comes from. A little present gets a little bit of dopamine. You want to show it off on Instagram, which is fake dopamine. Real dopamine is spending quality time with people.
On the dog walks.
On the dog walks, 100%. So look, at Get It Done on the podcast, I always say health is the key to success. Obviously, you being a financial expert, what would you say is the key to success?
I'd say prioritizing your well-being over everything else.
Yeah.
I literally was listening to previous episodes of your podcast on the drive here, and well-being above all else. I have the best job in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little maths nerd, and I get to use that to change people's lives. But
Amazing.
from
I
a
can
nosy,
see, do you know what I love the fact about you? I can see that you love it.
Yeah.
And it's
And-
brilliant. You literally are changing people's lives because their financial health is so, so important.
and I get to analyze the businesses that do really well, and the business owners that when I meet them, I think, oh, your energy's contagious. You don't seem to be crippled by the weight of this business. Like, what are you doing? And I get to take those people and literally look inside their businesses.
Yeah.
And as an accountant, I'm sometimes the first and sometimes the only person that they let inside their business. And I
course.
get to see what makes them tick. I get to see what they spend their money on. And the most successful people are the people who are prioritizing their non-negotiables above anything else. And it's always well-being.
100%. If you're that CEO, instead of going to the office, get into the gym first. Mums out there, like, of course, to be a good mum, you have to prioritise your kids. But once you start prioritising yourself, you become even better mum, and your kids love the vibe that you're giving. And I always say to my female, my mum clients, I'm like, you're right. And then they start prioritising themselves, everything improves.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Love that answer. Well, look, it's lovely having you on the podcast. That actually flew by, and we could easily do another hour. I will probably get you on it again. See where the UK is.
After you move to Dubai.
I know, we'll get
We
you to
can talk
Dubai.
about it
I'll fly
again.
you to Dubai. We'll do a podcast episode in Dubai. And yeah, brilliant having you on board.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much
coming
for
on.
having me.